Hey everyone, I'm back again with another taco guide. This time going through Wopal, or as I'm too used to calling it, Vopar. And you know, Vopar is kind of like a known for being like a basically like a beach planet, and just to get in the atmosphere of things, let's go into some swimwear and yeah, that's great. Now, Vopar's pretty straightforward. There's no significant skips that you can do. And the only thing I can really say for Vopar is just divide and conquer, which unfortunately, if you're not playing in a party, that doesn't apply. But first, just go through, take out these enemies. There are 3 waves of enemies that you gotta do. But once you kill all of them, these catapults will now spawn, and each catapult will take you to a different corner where you'll have to go to and kill some darkers. And in party play, it's kind of best to kind of like split the corners, but evenly between as many people as possible, just to save time and effort. I will note that the bottom right and the top right will have mini bosses that will spawn. So I'd advise having your higher level players go to those corners to take them out faster, or alternatively, you can have them take them have each of the higher level players take the bottom left and top left, so that once the bosses are down, they can already be waiting here in the center for the end, which I'll showcase later. So just make your way around. I'd like to go clockwise around these just to like kill all the darkers. And the spawns for each corner are kind of like dictated by the kills of the groups of darkers that spawn. You have to eliminate groups to spawn the next group at a different island. There's Wolgata. This is the boss that appears on the top left. So since I've killed Wogata over on the top right, that means that both islands over on like the top area of the map, they're completely done, and there's only left is just the bottom. So I'm just gonna go quickly over here, kill the darkers here, and go back to the bottom right for the Kol Maluta, and just take him down. Once Wolgata and Dekol Maluta are down, Zeshreda spawns in the middle. Kills Zeshreda, and you can now move on to the second area. Now, the second area takes place in like the seabed area, where there are switches. Hitting switches will spawn darkers or oceanids, and you have to kill them to open up the barriers that are guarding other switches. It's a good idea to have someone basically kill the darkers while the other person focus on switches. Alternatively, you can divide the effort, but just make sure you got someone getting the switches while someone is killing darkers, if you're in a party. If you're playing solo right now, like me, I think it's a good idea to hit as many of the switches as you can and before you end up being left with switches that are blocked by barriers, and then just kill the enemies before progressing on. So now here you have two paths. You kind of have a lower path and an upper path, all full of switches that spawn enemies. You have to hit every switch and kill every enemy in order to progress on. In party play, split up and have one person take one path and the other person take the other path. But if you're solo, I like to just take one path and press as many switches as I can before going back to the other path and killing the enemies while stepping on like the other switches. If you have range, you can try to snipe some of the enemies from like the other path as well. But otherwise, just go on through, hit every switch, and kill every enemy. There's really not too much to be said about Vopar. But Vopar solo is probably one of the longer ones, just because it's all about divide and conquer, and you can't divide and conquer solo. But kill all the enemies and all the switches, and you just move on. Some weak mobs will spawn here. Gotta make sure they die. Spawn the next wave. And now there are 4 wait on switches. This wait on switch that I'm standing on right now just spawns a couple darkers. The other 2 spawns org blondes, and the last one spawns a bull meduna. You can take each switch at your own pace, or you can just set off all the switches at once and just deal with the chaos. If you have party members and they're fairly high level, you probably could take the chaos route and just make things go by faster. Otherwise, if you're solo and you have powerful range options, then you can stand on the switch and kill the enemies as they spawn, just to save some time. But once all the enemies are dead, and as in like those last bosses and all that stuff, then Vopar is clear and done. And with that, I hope by watching this video, I've helped you figure out some strategies to make Vopar a little bit faster. Thanks for watching, and again, hope this helps.